Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. I know I'm a little late this morning. I apologize for that, as we are running on a little bit of odd time this morning. Sorry I was not with you last week. After 4.5 years or whatever it is of avoiding it, 4 years of avoiding it, I came down with COVID and had to. I mean, this time last week I couldn't even talk. I was I was really just not feeling well. Luckily, vaccination and Paxlovid together got me back on track. I'm still not 100%. I still have a lot of soreness in my throat. Probably shouldn't be doing a show today, if you asked a few of my friends. But you know what? I didn't want to leave you 2 weeks with nothing because I know how much you hang on to this show. So we'll get to that. We'll do a little show today. We're going to have my good friend Cynthia Payne from the Women in Trades organization. They have their annual fair coming up at Seattle Center on May 2nd. And I wanted to get Cynthia on to talk about that, especially because there are jobs aplenty, good paying jobs open in the automotive sector for women. That's right. You know, all of this idea that you have to go to college and you have to do all of this, spend all this money, put yourself in debt so that you can have, a good paying job, a job with status, is a line that we've been fed for many years. And I'm here to tell you that I think that part of what's wrong with America is that we have too many people that sit behind desks and not enough people that know how to look at their car and say that's wrong with it, or that's wrong with it, or look at their plumbing and say that's wrong with it, and that's wrong with it. We're so used to the idea of picking up the phone and hitting an app. So Angie sends us somebody over who may or may not know what they're doing. We don't know. But at the very least, there's money to be made without having to start your life out 100 or 200 or $300,000 in debt. It's the idea of that is ridiculous. And one of the places where there is a specific need for technicians, for people who can apply what they've learned in STEM uh, to everyday practicality, is in the automotive trades. You ask any sales manager or anyone who works in an automotive shop, and they will tell you that their biggest need is for technicians, is for people who can look at a problem and look at a technical manual and try to solve that problem. And so this fair that they have, and it's not limited to automotive. It's all different kinds of trades. But I get behind it because I think that first of all, we live in a world today where it's not unheard of to walk into a dealership or to walk into a construction site or to walk onto any kind of electrical or plumbing or any kind of trades and see women working right alongside men. You didn't see that when I was growing up. Every once in a while, you saw, a woman that was working in the trades, but you just didn't see it a lot. And then, really, in the 90s, it started to change. And so today, we see women right in there in the dealerships next to men, not just not being secretaries, but being technicians, being people who look at the jobs, the problems with cars or whatever problem it is, and solve it and make a pretty good, decent living doing it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you want to start your life not in hundreds of $1,000s of debt, and not having to hope that the president forgives your student loan for the 4 years that you went to school and dicked off 3 of those years. This may be a great alternative for you. This may be something that you certainly should take a ride down, a walk down, a train down to the Seattle Center and find out a little bit more about this. This has been going on for years now, I think since 1978 here in Seattle, and I think it's a great thing. So we're going to explore that a little bit more with Cynthia Payne a little bit later in the show. We have some things that again I took off last week, something I rarely do. Because I know how much you have come to rely on this show as a as a source of information. Also, one of the great things right now is that the the season is starting to roll around with the season's starting to roll around with car shows and cars and coffee and all that kind of stuff. People are taking their cars out. You see more and more collector and classic cars out on the street. You see many more hot rods, out on the street. Cars that people. Matter of fact, last week I was going to mention this last week, and of course I wasn't on to be able to do that. But I noticed something I'd never seen before. Up at the Dick's Hamburger Drive-In up on Highway 99 here in Edmonds. There was a number of police that were there taping off the parking lot. And I guess I had asked one of the policemen, well, what's this, what's the deal here? What's going on? And he had told me that they were only allowing paying customers into the parking lot. Now, I don't know how that works. So, is it a minimum? Do you have to get a hamburger, or are you okay if you just buy yourself a Coke? What's the deal? What's going on? So I did not see the mail last night taping off the parking lot. So I'm thinking that either it was super effective and it got everybody out of the parking lot, and there was nobody at Dick's last night after about 9 o'clock, or that it was an abject failure, and all those people were going to be there last night after 9 o'clock. Unfortunately, I was not feeling all that good, so I didn't go out and check it out last night. If you were at Dick's, maybe you can send me an email at Vinnie at drivetime-radio.com and let me know what was going on there last night. But it certainly seemed like the police were answering the call of the community to kind of cut down on the noise and I guess the insanity. Although again, I know that there's kids that go there, and I know that, listen, there's always going to be troublemakers in any kind of group. But I didn't sense over the last, well, in the entire time that I've been living here, that there's been uh, a massive battering of the neighborhoods. I don't think people are running around in neighborhoods dumping their clutch and leaving rubber marks, 2 blocks long, or taking over streets and drifting like they do in L.A. or in San Francisco, or even probably in downtown Seattle, down there south of in the Sodo district. I think that, and again, I'm an advocate of people, of the police and the communities working together to maybe give these kids a place where they can go and watch. If you want to smoke the tires on your car, give them a place down there in Georgetown where there's not too many people around, or on the grounds of the King County Airport, or something where they can do that kind of thing and people can go and watch it and you can regulate it and safety check it. And yeah, there's going to be some people that aren't going to buy into that. But if somebody has the choice of going to an intersection and rolling their car around like that and getting their license suspended, their car impounded, their car taken away, and all of that stuff, or going to a place that's sanctioned by the Seattle Police Department and says that, okay, if your car is safe, you can come here and you can, show off your car in front of these people who are assembled in a safe spot. And we don't have to take over an intersection of somebody's neighborhood. We can do it here in a place where it's off the street, it's away from um, any problems. And you have it sanctioned. It's not the first time it's been done. It was done back in New York when I was a kid. It was also done in in Southern California, where the hot rod clubs got together with the police departments and they they sanctioned drag races at different strips and stuff like that. And people could go down on a Saturday night or a Friday night, and the kids could sit in the stands and they could watch them race. And the cars were safety checked by cops that volunteered, by mechanics that volunteered their time because they wanted these kids to have a place to go to blow off steam. And, hot rodding, uh, although it looks a little different than it did back in the 50s and the 60s, is still very much alive. It's set up into two parts now. You have the younger guys and women who are driving, imported cars, the Honda Civic Type R's and all of these different cars. And then you have the older hot rodders, or the older classic car people who turn out 100, 200 strong at a Cars and Coffee on a Saturday morning. They're not so much interested in racing as they are as showing their car off. They've taken this old thing that probably would have been on a junk pile 25 years ago, and they've restored it and they brought it back to its luster and its beauty. And now they want to show it off. They want to talk to other like minded people. It's not necessarily about going out and burning out and how fast you can go. It's how cool your car looks, what you've been able to do to it, your mind and your design, and how you brought this car back to life. There's a whole lot of that going on as well. You don't see it as much in the nighttime because basically a lot of these guys want to go to bed early. you know, 10 o'clock, they're in bed. It's you see people out there that are 80 years old with these cars. So I think that is I think that's something that our public officials need to look at. If you want to stop the problem, give these kids and these people an alternative. You have tons of space down there at the old Naval Air Base. Use that. You have tons of space. I mean, we're the Puget Sound. We got tons of space everywhere. Give these kids a piece of space. Give them some guidance, and let them go out there and do it, and have some fun and show off in front of their friends. And who knows what you'll get from it. You may wind up getting people that realize that obeying the law is much more advantageous than breaking the law. Just me. Just my thought, but I think that there's something to it, and we'll investigate it in the weeks to come. In some of the news that has put itself out there over the last week, a lot concerning electric cars. One car that I'm excited to drive in a couple of weeks is the Kia EV9. Many people are saying that the EV9 could very well be the best electric car out there. I don't know that for sure. I've driven some pretty intense electric cars, including the one that I'm driving this week, the BMW i4, um, which we'll show you in just a couple of minutes. But I do have to say that the Kias and the Hyundais both have been impressive cars. Both in the thought of range, in the thought of power, in the thought of everyday driverdom. As a matter of fact, the EV9 won the 2024 World Car of the Year award. Now, one of the problems with the EV9 is its price. It's an expensive car. You're talking, I don't know, you're talking in the $70,000 range at least, I think, to get into one of these things. And because it does not qualify under the different rules for the tax credit, you don't get the $7,500 back on the tax credit. So what Kia has done is they have said, all right, we have this EV9. We think it's a spectacular car. We want you to get into this thing. They're sitting around on dealers' lots right now because there has been so much consternation about people buying electric cars. There's been a drop in the sales of electric cars lately, not so much here in Seattle, but around the country, because of it's popular to bash electric cars right now. People aren't, or are holding back a little bit on them. So Kia has said, "We'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you off the top a $7,500 incentive on our EV9s that are out there. If you buy an EV9, we'll make up the tax credit. We'll give you the $7,500 off. Come look at our EV9." And that ought to make a difference for you. Because, as I said, all the EVs that I have driven that have been produced by Kia or Hyundai have been great cars. The Ioniq 6 may be the best EV out there in terms of not just its user friendliness, but its design, its just general adaptability to your everyday lifestyle. The Ioniq 6 is a spectacular and solid car. Looks a little funky, looks a little like a Porsche, but for some people that's a turn on. But it is a car that is functional, stylish, and does the mantra of this show. It does what it was built to do. And that is give you a quality, everyday, drivable electric car at a decent price point. I don't think any of these companies are making money on these cars. Matter of fact, I think they're losing money on a lot of these cars. I don't know, maybe the Koreans are making money on it. But in the sense of a transitioning market, um, they're certainly doing all they can do to get you into an electric car, as is Tesla. Except the problem with Teslas right now is there's a ton of them flooding the market because Hertz, who just 2 years ago, put their arms around Tom Brady and said, "This is the guy who's going to lead us into the future." He wants you to get in an electric car and rent it and drive it and see how you like it. Well, um, that didn't turn out too well for Hertz because now just a year or so later, they're saying, "Well, we're getting out of the electric car renting business. We don't think it fits our um, the way we want to be as a company." Which I always questioned the sense of getting an electric car and giving it to somebody as a rental. I mean, you go to a different city. You're lost anyway. You have no idea where you are once you get out of the airport gate. You're looking around and now you're worrying about learning how to drive a completely different kind of car. On top of it, you're worried now about where are the charging stations? Where is this? How long do I have to go? What's my range? Am I going to run out of electricity? I mean, it's stressful for people who are experiencing their first time in this car. I don't know if the Tesla also has something to do with it because the Tesla is very different than many electric cars. It's a very different type of car in that the dynamics of the car, everything in the car is different. Everything is controlled through the screen. There's not a lot there when you have to, turn the lights on or turn the fan on or turn the radio on. You have to do it all through the touch screen. And I think that for a lot of people, that's tough. It's maybe the first time they've ever seen it. Maybe they drive a 6, 7, 8, 10-year-old car, and they've gotten into this Tesla, and people are honking at him to get off the parking lot or get out of the intersection. And this guy's trying to figure out how to turn the wipers on. And, he doesn't know that there's a touch screen there because it's probably a card there that tells you what to do. But this guy's not looking at it. He's gotten in the car and he's taking off. And all of a sudden, he's in the middle of an intersection and he's trying to figure out how to make this thing work. Not the time to be learning how to drive a car in the middle of an intersection. It's not the place you want to be doing it. So you now have a situation where enough people have said, you know what, I'm just not going to rent an electric car. So you have people who have said, I'm not going to do it. Leave the electric car there. I'll just take a regular old ICE car or a hybrid car. And so the experiment with Hertz and Tesla has so far become a failure. That means that Hertz is divesting itself of, I don't know, what did they buy? 300,000 Teslas? Well, now you can go and buy these Teslas. Dealers can buy them at auction. At the same time, Elon Musk dropped the price of a new Tesla. You can buy a new Tesla now for 60,000 bucks. Even less than that in some places. So now if you want the Tesla with all the full warranty and everything, you can go to your Tesla dealer, you can pretty much get it right away. And your car payment is going to be about the same as any other car. So you have used cars, used Teslas that are coming out of the rental fleet, new Teslas, which the price has been dropped almost to dumping proportions where they drop the price so much just because they want to get into the car. and it's created chaos in the electric car market. If you want a Tesla right now, and with all these other good cars out there, I don't know why you would, but you can get a Tesla from the dealer, brand new one, at a deal, at what people would consider to be a steal. But also beware that these other companies have adjusted to take a look at what's going on in the market and adjusted their cars accordingly. So you now will see the EV9 for $7,500 off, plus other incentives that could bring this car down to less than a Tesla. And for my money, it's as good as a Tesla. The only advantage I see that Tesla has to me is the fact that they have a charging system, charging network out there that is better than anybody else's. Because Elon Musk did the smart thing when he put Tesla together and he said, I'm going to keep these people charging at our branded charges. We're going to make that experience simple for them. And that will take so much of the angst out of driving an electric car. And he was right. It's not stupid. It may be irritating, but he's not stupid. And again, part of the experience with the Tesla is that there's an ease of finding the Tesla charging stations. They're easily found. They're everywhere. They put as much thought into the person who was going to use that car after it left the lot as they did before it left the lot, which is where American car makers seem to fail. You know, you go to an American car maker, American car dealer, and their whole thing is to get you in the car and off the lot. And it's a different thing with electric cars. There's a learning curve. And I told a story a few weeks ago about I was driving, I forget what I was driving actually, but it was a plug-in hybrid. And I went to plug it in over here at the Winco up on Highway 99. And all of a sudden, I pull up and there's this woman and she's in tears. And she's driving a new Hyundai. And she's in tears because she can't, they put her off of the lot. You know, she went to buy the car. She bought the car. They put her in the car. They left her off the lot with a half-charged battery. And she got to Winco, and the car died on her. And she was in tears. No instructions on how to plug it in. No instructions about what to look for. Nothing. They got her money, and they pushed her out the door. My understanding is with Tesla and a lot of the Soul Electric dealerships, the Lucid and so on and so forth, Rivian, that there's as much thought that goes into the aftermarket as it does, after you leave the lot, as it does when you come onto the lot to buy the car. And I think that's part of what you need with electric cars. There's a learning curve going on there. And if you don't adhere to that learning curve, you're going to be in trouble. So that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about here this morning is I saw an interesting article, believe it or not in um, the automotive trades magazines, but I was browsing through Realtor.com, and they ran an article of the top 10 cities for electric vehicle owners. And so these are places where you would be more than likely to buy a house that would be EV friendly. That would mean it would be, you would wind up getting a house, I should say, that would be wired for a charger, have the ability to install a charger, will have chargers nearby. According to Cox Automotive, 1.2 million electric vehicles were sold last year. Now, only 0.9% of the homes on Realtor.com were rated EV friendly. Don't forget that just 5 years ago, that number was 0.1%. So the EV friendly homes are increasing. Why? Because of government policies to support electric vehicles, rebate programs, incentives, and higher demand for at-home chargers. Average price of an electric vehicle in February, $52,314. But the top 10 electric vehicle-friendly housing markets. And these are markets where there's incentives, there's different things out there for you to buy, make it easier for you to buy an electric vehicle, to charge an electric vehicle, and to live that electric vehicle lifestyle. Number 10, Denver, Colorado. Actually, let's go down to this to the top 20. We'll do the 20. Number 20 is Las Vegas. They have a 1.1% of EV friendly listings. Fresno comes in at number 19. Portland, Oregon, which this shocked me, is number 18 on the list. They have 32 EVs per charging port in Portland. That may be why. Portland, Maine comes in at number 17, another shocker. I thought that city would have been more EV friendly. Honolulu comes in at 16, Riverside, California at 15, Oxnard, California at number 14, Atlanta at number 13, Sacramento, California at number 12, 11 is San Diego, California. Number 10 is Denver. Very interesting that Denver, again, is so low on this list. I would have thought that Denver would have been in the top 5. 9, Washington, D.C. Number 8, Los Angeles. Number 7, Austin, Texas. Probably the only city in Texas that comes in because, for the most part, I don't think they believe in EVs in Texas. Durham, North Carolina comes in at number 6, and now your top 5. Seattle at number 5. That's right. You'd think that it would be more EV friendly here in Seattle. But according to Realtor.com, their list, Seattle comes in at number 5. Number 4, Boston. Number 3, San Francisco, where more and more of the old Victorians are being rewired for the new technology of electric vehicles. Many houses have a 2-car garage in San Francisco that have at least one EV charging station. Some have 2, which I think has got to make PG&E very happy down there because they're now becoming a major supplier of automotive propulsion. Number 2, and this was one maybe that shocked me more than anything else. You wouldn't think it, but Salt Lake City is the number 2 top EV-friendly market in the United States. Go figure. I would think with the high proportion of Mormons, that maybe there'd be less, which is generally a conservative group. There may be less adaptation to new technology like this. But this survey proves me wrong. They're the number 2 top city. And that ought to tell you something. If a conservative group like Mormons are adopting this technology, I'd have to say there's something to it, wouldn't you? And I'm not knocking Mormons or any religious group. I just think that this is traditionally a conservative group that takes time to adapt to newer technology. The same thing can be said about Texas and the fact that it's, the golden buckle of the Bible Belt. And you just think that sometimes newer technology, people are slow to adapt to it because they're conservatives. The conservative mantra is generally no electric vehicles. We want oil. God gave us oil, and that's it. Well, that's what you get. And finally, the number 1 city on this list, I don't know if this is a surprise to anybody, but it's where all the action is in electric vehicles. And that is San Jose, California. So that's something that you probably, although it's
Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week?
Sorry about that. I meant to take that out of the queue so that we could get my friend Cynthia in here because she was under the queue and I didn't see her. So anyway, San Jose is the number 1 city, top 10 electric vehicle friendly housing markets. You can find this article on realtor.com if you want to read further about it. Also, lots of other good stuff on here about Seattle, about electric car markets and where, if you're thinking about relocating, you should look and get an idea of where these vehicles are. All right, let's welcome in now my good friend Cynthia Payne, who joins us this morning from the, she has been involved with Women in Trades, Washington Women in Trades. There's an organization that promotes women getting into the trades, which are traditionally thought of as male dominated areas. But as we see more and more that, listen, women hold up half the sky. Why not? They should hold up half the cars on the road too, right? Good morning, Cynthia. How are you?
Good morning, Vinnie. How are
Sorry to
you?
make it so long, but I got foggy head this morning, Cynthia. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm coming back from.
I can't seem to center myself on your screen in any normal way.
No, well, let's see. Stay.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You're there. There you go.
Yeah.
You're beautiful, right there. Spectacular.
Yay.
Now
Okay.
smile. How are you, my friend?
I am fine. I'm fine. I'm in the middle of the end, the final moments of putting an event together. So I'm very busy and, the stress level is kind of high.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay.
I could imagine.
Those those of us who do events, this is what we live for, I
Yeah,
guess.
and this is the great. You've been doing this event a long time, haven't you?
I have been doing this event since maybe 2006.
It's a long time.
So yeah, I know this event pretty well. One time I was driving down to Seattle Center, and this was at least 10 years ago, and I was really sick, and it was the day of the event, and I thought, it is a really good thing that I know this event so well because I'm doing this by touch
Yeah.
today. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, that's it. You get to, it's like me doing this show. I mean, I could be on my deathbed, hopefully not, but I could be on my deathbed and still do the show because you don't need a script, you don't need this, you don't need that. You just know what you want to talk about, and and you get up there and you do it. You plug in, and it's boom. You just have to know the facts about it. I would think that this event, as I read a lot about it, it's really that kind of event where it's the message is so good to people that that need to hear this message, people that realize that you don't need a college education to get along in the world. I mean, we've been force fed that. It's great if you have one, you can afford it, but there's lots of jobs out there that are good, solid paying jobs for people um, that you don't have to go to college for. You go to a union, you go to a trade school, you go to a place where they will teach you how to do these things, and you make a pretty good living off of it, I would say.
Well, not only that, with union apprenticeships, you get paid while you're learning. So, you get paid to to be learning on the job. And that is a beautiful thing. I mean, you aren't going to end up with a huge college loan to pay back. Um,
Right.
and you're going to be making, pretty okay money.
Enough to live.
Well, yeah, way more
Yeah,
than I make.
yeah, yeah, enough to live. Right. The event is the second. It's at the Seattle Center, right?
Actually, it's May 3rd.
Oh, May
Friday,
3rd.
May 3rd at Seattle Center at Fisher Pavilion.
Thank you. May
And
3rd at Fisher Pavilion. And what would somebody who is, especially a young woman who is thinking about, or an old woman for that matter, I mean, any woman, anybody who is thinking to themselves, well, you know what? Maybe this is right. Maybe I should go check this out. What would they find when they get to Fisher Pavilion?
well, first they would see a whole bunch of displays that are outdoors. And that would include a couple one metro bus, one bus from Pierce County. Um, they would see the Seattle City Lights climbing pole at the fountain that has had the hole dug there for way before me. And so every year they bring a climbing pole and they teach people how to climb an electric pole.
Wow.
Um, you'll see the Seattle Public Utilities by the fountain. Also, you'll see Seattle DOT down in front of Fisher, as well as King County DOT. King County also has a build project that'll be in front of Fisher. Lots of stuff outdoors. And I did and have been looking at the weather, and cross your fingers that it'll be fun and nice. And the last 2 years we've had rain, and that's just too depressing. Indoors, we have lots of union apprenticeship programs, some training programs with colleges. We have Seattle Wood Tech, we have Shoreline Automotive,
Right.
which their program is pretty amazing. I mean, just their facility is beautiful. I don't even, I mean, there's at least 10 bays filled with cars to work on. It's pretty impressive. And one of the instructors is a woman too. Um, we do our annual summer camp with them at the automotive building. So I kind of know it pretty well.
It's
What else?
amazing to me, having grown up in the automotive business. I mean, if there was a woman working in the automotive business in the '60s, it usually made the newspapers. A woman mechanic, a woman
Right,
tow truck
right.
driver. And I can't remember how many times they had a woman tow truck driver with one of the tow truck companies, and she was in the paper like every 3 weeks, for something, just because she was a woman, and it was so odd. Now it's not so odd to walk into a dealership and not just see a woman as a finance manager or a receptionist or something like that, but to walk into the shop and see women in coveralls working in the automotive, in the mechanics end of it, the problem solving end of it. You cause a problem, they come in, they look, they try to figure it out. Um, it, is it is it a good business, automotive, do you think, for women to get involved in, for them to look at and say, hey, this is a place that I can earn a good living and feel like I'm helping people?
Well, I mean, I can't answer that. I don't know. I mean, in terms of money, I don't know what you would have to expect in automotive. Um, you know, and every place that you work is different.
Right.
So, you know, if you like the work and you like your uh, coworkers and bosses, then it's a great place to work. Um,
Right.
if you're passionate about it, you know, you want to work on cars, damn it, work on cars.
Yeah.
It's the same as doing cement masonry or, you know, whatever. Those options are open. And, you know, um, it's exciting to see the little light go off in people's heads when they realize that oh my God, I could do this. This would be, I could do this.
Right.
Wow. It's
Right.
really a joy. One of the things about our fair that is the most important is that of course, we cater to work ready women and men too. We aren't, you know, we're totally inclusive. This isn't just about girls. Uh,
Right.
uh, it's that so many exhibitors are interactive. They do these amazing interactive things. The electricians are all on one side of the room and they're bending pipe and they're doing stuff, and the energy is just palpable. It's so exciting. The other thing about it is that a lot of these people, women who are showcasing their projects or whatever, um, don't connect with other women working in other fields often. And
Right.
this is a moment for everybody to come together all in one place. And the joy is palpable. I mean, it's like, wow, you know, there's such a feeling of solidarity, and this is just so cool. And me as kind of an outsider, which, you know, because I'm not a tradesperson, I just stand back and watch and, you know, am amazed at the exhibitors who bring it. It blows me away at how, like, for instance, Seattle Parks called me last week and said, you know, we're thinking they have an outdoor exhibit. We're thinking of having, you know, our arborists do uh, well, climb a tree and put the equipment on the tree and show all the attendees how you do that. And I'm
Right.
like, really? Oh yeah, right. Seattle Center is going to let them do that, really, on a tree somewhere near Fisher. That's so gonna not happen. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. So I called our rep at Seattle Center and she said, let me see what I can do. And I'll be damned if we didn't have an arborist being able to be on the grounds at Seattle Center doing a tree presentation.
Wow.
I mean, how cool is that? You
I,
know, that's and everybody, almost everybody. I mean, you know, there's always going to be a table that just hands out cards.
right.
Um, we do give prizes for the best exhibitors, which means that you know, in fact, I'll show you one. They look like this.
There you go. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Doesn't everybody want one? Of course
Uh,
they do.
I'd love one. I
You
mean,
want one.
I don't know if I'm an exhibitor, you know, but
Yeah, well,
I mean,
you
it
know,
looks like a good participation badge.
these were mistakes, Vinny, so I might have an extra one laying around
Oh,
somewhere.
okay. Well, that's it's always well. You gave me a banner, and it's hanging up here right in my office.
Good,
So
I'm glad.
I have it hanging up. Um, with the recent infrastructure bills and all the money that's been pumped into this kind of stuff, I would think that this is a prime time for people to go to these different unions and these different trades and find something that's good, because there's more money being spent now on these different infrastructure projects and so on and so forth than ever before.
Absolutely. That's true. It has, I will admit, kind of slowed down a little bit. Um, we noticed a drop in sponsorship this year, which means there's a drop in jobs. Um, that a lot of the uh, mm, big jobs, with cranes in the sky, they're finishing. After COVID, we had a real blowout couple years. And this year it's been a little slower, not so much for exhibitors because we'll always, have lots and lots of exhibitors. But
Right.
for the person who's looking for work, absolutely. It's a pretty good time to um, look at apprenticeship programs, and every union is different and every training program is different. So it takes a bit to understand how to navigate all that. And our website is pretty extensive with information about how you can do that. And the city of Seattle has a great book that they created that um, it's a couple years old, but it's still valid, that kind of takes you step by step on how you play that game. Every union, they have openings at different times.
Right.
Um, different expectations, different things that you have to be able to do to even get considered for an apprenticeship in a union. And I will give a little plug to our friends at N.W.A.P.A.MUDFEST, which is a pre-apprenticeship training program, and they've been around almost as long as us. And they created a pre-apprenticeship training program for women only. So you go through this program, it's free. You have to be able to support yourself for a while.
Right.
I think it's 12 weeks. Um, and they kind of help you navigate. Well, do you want to be a carpenter? Do you want to be a cement mason? Do you want what fits best for you?
Right.
And it's an incredible resource for women who kind of think they might want to do something, but they aren't really sure how to do that. And even contacting them is really helpful. What Women in Trades, our organization, I always say we don't do anything. And that's not really true, but we're connectors. We don't teach classes. We don't offer apprenticeship programs. We don't do any of that, but we know who does.
Right, and I would think that somebody who's looking to take this route, that's interested in saying, okay, I'm not going to put myself $100 or $200,000 behind the eight ball for a college education. I'm going to do this. Has no. I mean, do you walk up to the union? Is there a window there? But you go to a place like this, and it's a less intimidating, uh, uh, more people that are reaching out to you to say, hey, listen, this is what we have. This is how you can navigate it. This is how you can get involved and see if this is for you, as opposed to, walking up to the IBEW Union Hall and saying, "Boy, I'd sure like to be an apprentice." Well, yeah, okay, come back in 10 years, or something like that.
Right,
Here,
exactly.
everything is
Exactly.
is right in front of you. They're actively looking and actively there. They have the right people there to answer your questions about getting involved, looking at this as a career path for yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
What else
And whether
happens
it's
at our fair?
automotive or electric or construction or whatever
Mhm.
trades it is,
I mean,
that's the idea. And there's so many different, from pipe fitters to sprinkler fitters, people who put those sprinkler system in. I mean, it's just so many different types of job that maybe you would never think of. You could walk, it seems to me, through this fair and get your appetite whetted a little bit on something that you may never even have thought about.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've been working on the maps, and what's really weird, um, we have a whole wall of electricians. We have a whole wall of pretty much pipe fitters, um, pipe trades, AJAC, which is a aerospace machinist union training program, and so they're the aerospace industry. Oh, one of my favorites, the elevator people.
I
I
love the elevator.
love the elevator people. And they used to bring a fake elevator, like a miniature elevator. Sometimes they bring it, sometimes they don't. Um, they're amazing. One of our biggest supporters is Puget Sound Naval Shipyard.
Well,
And they come every year and, have a pretty giant presence. Um, and they have, everything from mechanics to pipe fitters to, painters to, I can't even begin to think of how many different options they offer for employment.
okay, how much does it cost to get in?
It's free.
Free? How
Yeah.
could it be free? Something this valuable. There has to be a catch. Is there no catch?
There is no catch. You have to bring me presents, but,
Well, we
I'm
could
kidding.
figure something out along those lines. But all right, so it is at Fisher Pavilion at Seattle Center, Friday, May 3rd. That's this upcoming Friday, 9 to 2. Do you have to register? Do you have to,
No,
or do you just go and
no. In fact, take a look at our website, at WAWomenInTrades.com, and there's a pretty extensive page of information. A lot of our audience are high school and middle school kids.
really?
So there are buses that bring kids in. We have this year, the kids do register, their teachers register them, and we've got registered over 700 kids, and usually people just show up too because it's a free event. We,
Yeah.
always, always, always want to see more work ready women. So, if you're bored on a Friday and you got nothing to do, this is a really fun thing to, do hang out at Seattle Center for a few hours.
Yeah, I would think that it's one of those things where you go in, you open a door, and you never know what you're going to see on the other side of it, right? You may find your
Exactly.
life's calling, in some kind of great union job. You may find nothing, but at least you in your heart you say, okay, I went and I explored, and I saw, and there was something there for me, and here I am, 20 years later. I'm in the union and making a good living, have a pension, and I'm not worried about if I'm going to be 65 years old and have no money,
Right, right.
I retire. These union jobs, people forget that they're good, solid jobs. They provide pensions, they provide health care, they provide
Exactly.
things to people that are forever eluding us in our modern society. So these are a great. The president is not kidding when he says that America needs union jobs. They do, and they
Absolutely.
need to get involved in.
I've
Um,
one last thing to share. One last
yes,
thing. And that is that uh, we, for many years, created a calendar that was um, all about Rosie the Riveters, women who worked during World War II as, mechanics and riveters and, you know, everything they did. They did lots of different trades jobs, and they're kind of the foremothers of tradeswomen now.
right.
We did these calendars. We did 13 of them. So we interviewed over 150 women and then did bios and photos of these calendars and in these calendars. And we don't do them anymore for two reasons. One, people aren't using calendars much anymore, physical paper calendars. But the real reason is that all the Rosies have passed.
Yeah.
There's nobody left to interview. However, through some really, hard work by not me or women in our group, the Rosies about a month ago won the Congressional Gold Medal in Washington, D.C. Big deal. Big deal after all these years. That's the highest honor that can be given to people who civilians, the highest civilian honor.
Right.
So we decided that we needed to really do something cool to honor this honor. So we're doing some special Rosie things. And the one that I'm most excited about is we're going to have a sheet metal person there with a real rivet gun, and you can learn how to rivet.
Wow.
Put a bandana on and get that rivet gun out.
Could I do that? Because I've always seen riveters.
You could do that.
So if I came down, I could grab the rivet gun, and now do they still do the thing with throw the hot rivet up and catch it and
I
tuck it?
don't know how this is gonna be exactly. We'll see how Vanessa has it set up. I don't know.
Because I've seen that in movies a million times where they have the guy with the rivet in the fire, and he throws it up to the guy with the bucket, and he puts it in, and the guy with the rivet gun goes, pa, 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 pa.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll be quite that dramatic.
And in the Three Stooges, there's always grease on the girder, and Curly usually winds up going off the end of the girder and drops down. That's my extent of what I know about the trades.
Well, you should come, Vinnie.
All right, Washington Women in Trades, WAWOMENINTRADES, wildwomenintrades.com is the website. Friday, May 3rd, 2024, 9 to 2, 9 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. And it's free, so go and meet my friend Cindy and walk around and talk to people about what your next career move may be. I think it's a great thing. That's why I wanted to give you a few minutes on it, and hopefully we'll have a few new people that will have gotten their jobs by listening to Drivetime Radio.
Thank you, Vinnie.
Cynthia, it's good to see you. See you soon.
You too.
Bonsoir, mon ami.
Okay, have fun.
All right.
Thank you for doing this.
Cynthia Payne, who leaves us now. And before we go, of course, we got to ask the question, yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week? And this is exactly what I'm driving this week. This beautiful BMW i4M. This is all electric. It is a spectacular looking car. I mean, you can see just by the way the lines of this car run, it's really a hatchback. I mean, that back panel opens up, and there's plenty of trunk space and plenty of room inside. It is really a nice driving from what I've driven it so far, and I haven't taken it out to the test track yet or anything like that, but it is truly a vehicle that has a lot of solid look to it. You can see as you look inside in the interior, nice leather on the seats. The seats are comfortable. It's really well appointed inside. A pleasant interior to drive in and to to take a trip in. I mean, it's the rear seats are comfortable, front seats are comfortable, well adjusted. Really a spectacular dashboard in this thing. The dashboard curves all the way around, and it gives you just this incredible vista of screen in front of you where everything is right in front of you. And this eDrive 35, we've driven the M50, which is the performance version. And while it doesn't have the power of those with 281 horsepower, you drop this thing into sport mode and you hit the gas, and it'll knock your beverages for a loop. Again, it's not the fastest, not the most luxurious, but as this thing starts around $55,000, this 4 Series i4, which is the electrified version of the 4 Series, the E35, is when you get into it, you look at that screen, you look at the ease of which this thing drives, you look at the way BMW's left enough there for you to be familiar with what you drive. One of the great things about BMW is what they have decided is that whatever you want to drive, whatever mode of transportation you want, whether it be electric, whether it be internal combustion, whether it be hydrogen coming up, whether it be plug-in hybrid, they're going to have a vehicle that is going to satiate you and your desires. This eDrive 35 is supposed to get you up to 60 miles an hour in 5 seconds. And again, while it's not the most powerful, it is going to be more than you're going to need to get on the freeway and to enjoy the styling of this BMW. It's supposed to have a range of about 227 miles on this particular model. But again, if you like this configuration of the BMW, there are more potent models available. But so far, in the time that I have driven this vehicle, this BMW this week, I've really enjoyed it and really found it to be a very simple vehicle to adapt to. Don't forget, you buy a car, you get 3 years to figure the thing out. 4 years, I got to figure it out in 2 days. So that I'm driving it. But with 281 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, it pops. The vehicle pops. And again, it's not the most powerful vehicle in this series from BMW, but it pops. It's comfortable. Everything is right there in front of you, including, thank God, a knob for the volume of the radio. Everything that you need. It has the voice control, so you say, "Hey, BMW," and it starts to get you where you need to go as far as the voice commands. So you can do it by a touch screen, you can do it by voice, you can do it a number of different ways. So again, this is what I'm driving this week. We'll have a full review of it coming up on a future edition of Drive Time. That's going to put it in the books for today. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Thanks so much to Cynthia Payne for joining me and telling you a little bit again. Friday, the 3rd of May, at the Fisher Pavilion at Seattle Center. If you're interested in getting involved in the automotive trades or any trade, head on down there on Friday. Take your kids down and show them that there's more to life than just a college education, that you're, struggling to pay off innumerable debt in your life. Okay? All right. Thanks so much to our good friend George Jackson for sponsoring the show. If you need any kind of business specialties, tchotchkes, whatever you need, handouts, give outs, especially if you're going to a thing like this, women in trades fair. You want to hand out things, you want to give something out for your business, George is the guy to see. Check him out on the web at gjpromo.com or go to Facebook, George Jackson Promotions.com, and tell him Vinnie sent you. George is a good guy. He always is good on price, good on service, He's a great guy to just talk to. If you have a problem in your life, just call up George and tell him Vinny sent you. All right? All right. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I'll catch up with you Monday morning with Michael at 10:10 from Mikey and Vinny Take on the World. Until then, have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Have a good one. Take care. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.